Welcome back to Citizens Forum, April 2nd in the beautiful Memorial Arena in Victoria. I want to thank our crew of volunteers and the Shaw staff who makes this all possible. Our guest in this segment is David Codwell, and we're going to be talking about Western herbal medicine, which I think is a topic of both tremendous interest and tremendous importance. So, David, maybe you can start off just by saying what you do.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, I'm a Western herbalist, so that's what I'm allowed to call myself these days. And what I do is I'm trained in a range of the common medical sciences, but I'm trained in the use of plants as herbal medicines. So that's my training, but I'm here in Victoria as an instructor at Pacific Rim College, where we train students in these disciplines.
So Pacific Rim College is training people in Western herbal medicine.
Yes.
Where is the college?
The college is in Market Square, which is, and we're on the top floor of Market Square, and we train people in Western herbal medicine, in acupuncture, and in various other of the complementary therapies. So we're not just about Western herbal medicine, but that's one of the faculties within the school.
Now, you may have noticed from listening to David that he's not from around here originally. Where are you from?
That's right, yeah. I'm from England, so various places in England. England's not very big, so coming here I get a sense of scale. I'm from Sussex, southeast England, and that's actually where I trained. We had a beautiful country house converted into a herbal medicine training school, and we had our grounds there with the herb garden, and that's where I originate from.
So to me, the most important thing is, does herbal medicine work to cure the many ills that people have that don't seem curable with our pharmaceuticals? Right. And does it help people?
It really does, yeah. I think that herbal medicine has been rather sidelined and forgotten in the West.
It certainly has.
Most people don't know what a herbalist is, but actually this is a very recent turn of events, because herbal medicine is the oldest form of medicine in the world, and people have used it effectively since prehistory. So, you know, archaeologists digging find evidence of herbal medicine use that goes back 60,000 years. So there are places in Iraq where they've found tombs where people have been buried with medicinal herbs that are 60,000 years old, and that's recorded history. So we pretty much get the sense that it goes back into prehistory, and you know, most cultures around the world have developed quite sophisticated systems of medicine around plant use, and it's very effective. And I think the fact that we've forgotten it's effective is only a recent thing, and it's really only a Western phenomenon where we've forgotten that. There are large parts of the world where that's not true.
So, for example?
Yeah, for example, well, even somewhere as culturally kind of close to us as Eastern Europe, it's pretty much inconceivable that in the rural areas, particularly, not so much in the cities, but in the rural areas, it's fairly inconceivable that an adult wouldn't know what herbs to pick from the forest or the field to help with the simple things at home. And so I've got friends in Eastern Europe and been to visit them, go to their grandparents' house in the village, and you see herbs drying in the kitchen. People go out in the forest, they know what to pick and they know how to use it. We've kind of forgotten all of that.
Now, I know that Chinese herbal medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, exists as a philosophically sound medical system, and it works. I mean, I've seen it work, I've felt it work. There is no doubt that it works, and basically, I'm sure it's the same herbs that they're using with different names that you also use. So there's no question that it works. But let's take some specific examples. For example, pain, skin rash and eczema, arthritis. Okay, let's take those three.
Okay. Let's start with skin rash. So this is bread and butter kind of stuff for a herbalist. Every week in a herbal clinic I would see many eczema patients. Herbal medicine works very well. We use herbs internally. that help reduce the inflammatory and the allergic processes that are going on. And we use external preparations too that help to topically calm things down. Very effective.
So if I had eczema or any skin problem, could I go to a herbalist and expect that things would get better?
Yeah, you really could. You really could. And lots of people, I think it's interesting that you picked those conditions. So you picked arthritis and eczema. I think what we're seeing in the West, we've really kind of mastered with conventional medicine. Has mastered the area of acute medicine. It's mastered the area of infectious disease to a level that wasn't maybe possible in the past. But what we're seeing in the West now is a huge kind of rise in chronic disease, and I think it's those areas that probably yield rather better to a more traditional approach from the traditional medicines of the world, because they're complex conditions that need a lot of time, that need that relationship building between the practitioner and the doctor. And that's kind of gone, hasn't it? With the GP, these days you've got 5 minutes and you're allowed to talk about one thing. And, you know, these complex conditions, you need to talk about lots of things.
But not only do you need to talk about lots of things, but a Western doctor, your family doctor, when you go to see him, is really only allowed to use pharmaceuticals as the form of treatment, one drug or another. And the problem with the drugs is they don't seem to work very well. So they treat the symptoms, maybe, but while doing so, they cause other fundamental health problems, kidney damage, liver damage, tissue damage, everything, which then require more pharmaceuticals, and you're on the road to sickness and disaster. Whereas from what I've seen of at least Chinese herbal medicine, and I'm sure this herbal medicine is the same, I mean, nothing is magic, nothing works in every cases, but you're not doing any damage, and very often the results are great.
That's right. And I think it's a reflection that really, you know, plants were here before us, when we evolved alongside plants, and our systems, our digestive systems and our livers and so on have evolved to deal with plant material, so that generally speaking they're very well tolerated and they work very much harmoniously with the body. There's a very thin line between what's a herb, what's a medicine therefore, and what's food. And the body handles and recognises those materials as friends rather than foes. And there are herbs that can cause side effects. There are herbs that are toxic that need to be handled very carefully. But that's why we train people, so that they know what the appropriate herb is at the appropriate time, at the appropriate dose.
So if I came in and I said I'm having digestive problems, and let's say just that, just digestive, but what are some of the more common herbs that you would think of even before you ask me any questions? Or
Sure. So simple as can be, chamomile. So everybody thinks they know chamomile, and the chamomile in the supermarket in the little box is a very different beast to the proper medicinal strength chamomile. But a well-grown chamomile that's properly harvested and processed is a potent herb. It's very anti-inflammatory in the gut, and we use it for a range of things. It reduces stomach acid, it can calm irritable bowel syndrome, and it's just widely applicable. And then there are lots and lots of other herbs that can lower stomach acidity, or that can deal with things as complicated as colitis or Crohn's disease and this kind of thing.
Now, can you help people with those problems? Colitis, Crohn's disease?
Sure. They're complex conditions that are poorly understood anyway. Particularly Crohn's disease may well have an autoimmune kind of origin as part of its development. But again, these complex conditions respond well to a gentle, complex approach rather than a single drug approach. And you know, I don't want to knock conventional medicine too much, because I don't want to live in a world without conventional medicine. If I have a car crash on my way home today, I want emergency surgery and the wonders of modern medicine. But I think that modern medicine is at its best in a crisis in interventional terms. It tends to struggle with the complexities of a chronic disease and with the diseases of aging. And we live in an aging society where these conditions are on the rise.
What are the give us the name of the college again where you teach.
Yes, Pacific Rim College in Market Square.
Market Square. And are there a lot of, I guess you call I guess you are called Western herbal practitioners.
That do, yeah.
Western herb. Are there a lot of them in Victoria? Or
there aren't. No. So this is the thing. Canada-wide, the numbers are low. I think most people are familiar with the idea of a naturopath, but herbalists, the numbers are low. We're really the first big school that's training to a high level with clinical training included. So there are other schools in Alberta and in Toronto that train people to a preclinical level and don't develop the clinical skills. So here we're developing people to go out and practice. So I think that with the numbers that are coming through the college, the idea of a herbalist is going to spread across Canada and be a more familiar idea. I hope so.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
How long has the college been there?
The college has been there now for almost 7 years.
Okay, so you have graduated people?
So we have our first 2 lots of graduates at this point.
Okay.
And yes, they've gone and spread their wings and flown the nest across Canada. So yeah.
Can people come in to the college for consultation or
they
treatment?
Can, yeah. So we run training clinics. So in our herbal medicine program, we have training clinics where people can come in. They can see one of the trained practitioners as a teacher in front of a class of students. So that's what we call an observation clinic. We also run supervised clinics where the practitioner will be supervising a class of students and one of the students will take the patient. And then we run what we call independent clinics where the patient can go one-on-one with the student. And all of those clinics are free, so it's a wonderful resource for people in Victoria. Yeah.
Now, once you see the practitioner, then I guess you have to buy some herbs.
That's right.
And are the herbs expensive, inexpensive?
The herbs are generally, they work out around $10 a week. So
that's very cheap.
That's pretty reasonable, yeah. And I think this is actually one of the things that I think a lot of people in my field would like to see is a more integrated approach where maybe herbal medicine can take up some of the challenges of the chronic disease that's rising in our society and work alongside conventional medicine. This is happening in Germany, it's happening in China, it's happening in India, where they've managed to integrate the traditional medicines with the conventional care and get the best of both worlds. Because I don't think it should ever be an either or. I think there are wonders to be had and skills, unique insights that can only be had with having the best of everything.
But I would agree that we should definitely be finding a way, now I guess, to incorporate herbal medicine, because it works. I think it works. Yeah. Now, I would assume that the elephant in the room that won't allow this to happen are the drug companies, because they don't want the competition. Is that a fair?
Yeah, I'm sure there's an element of that. The history of herbal medicine in the West, it really runs up to about pre-World War II. So I think our grandparents would have been very familiar still, even in parts of Europe and parts of North America, with the idea of herbal medicine. Herbal medicine was huge in North America in the 19th century, and then it rather kind of disappeared around about World War II. And I think it would be good to see it come back and be much more familiar again.
What are some of the most popular herbs that an herbal practitioner would use?
Right, okay. Things like hawthorn, so we use hawthorn for things like high blood pressure. We use a herb called vitex for menstrual irregularities. Things like sage for menopausal complaints. Very everyday herbs, many of them.
But they work.
But they're really potent, they really work. Something like menopause, that particularly a few years ago when there was a scare about HRT and lots of women arrived at alternative practitioners saying, well, what can we do instead? Because HRT has some risks that we're not prepared to take anymore. And people are surprised how quickly and how effectively herbal medicine can take that place without the side effects, without the risks, managing these conditions that people have kind of given up on.
What is one more herb that would be popular?
Another herb, dandelion. So dandelion we use all the time. We use the leaf as a diuretic. It's a very potent leaf, a very potent diuretic. And we use the root for liver complaints. So lots of us these days in the West, you know.
Well, there's nothing, I mean, the liver and kidney are probably the two most complex and important organs of the body.
Sure.
And you're saying that the old dandelion?
The old dandelion can take care of kidney and liver. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really
amazing.
staggering.
So, I mean, here again, we know nothing about it, but I guess we're very lucky to have this school here now.
I think so. You know, I feel lucky to have had the opportunity to come here because I think it's a really pioneering school of combining all these different disciplines and training people to a high level. But yeah, I think it's a great resource. People should come and take advantage of us.
We've only got a couple of minutes left.
Sure.
How does one become a herbal, I'm not herbal doctor because it's not allowed to say that, but herbal practitioner?
Sure. Okay. I think you can become a herbal practitioner at a superficial level by reading books and the internet. Lots of people do that and call themselves herbalists. I wouldn't recommend that people go and see those herbalists because they don't have any medical training as a background. At a deeper level, there are programs that you call community herbal programs. So we run one of those at the college. People can come in and learn over a 4-month period how to use herbs for themselves at home, for their families and for their friends and their community. So that's another level of training. And then the higher level of training is a 3 to 4 year course where we train people at a deeper level, the background skills that they need to understand how to work alongside conventional medicine.
Now, I think one of the craziest things about conventional medicine is to get into med school, you have to have an A+ average, which locks out, I'm sure, many people who would be great doctors. How about to enter?
Sure. To enter our school, you do need to prove a level of competence in some kind of scientific background. So you have to have high school level education and you have to show some level of ability in the sciences. So most of our students, if they haven't got that, they go away and get whatever qualifications they need to prove that. But it's true, we take people from a wider background. Lots of the best practitioners are not necessarily the most academically scientific.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
it's more to do with loving people and the people skills and loving the plants, and those people are sometimes the best practitioners, I think.
David Caldwell, thank you very much. We've been talking about Western herbal medicine, which I hope is something that is going to grow exponentially in Canada, because I think we've got a lot of health problems. This is definitely one of the solutions. Thanks for watching this segment of Citizens Forum. Welcome back to Citizens Forum. Our guest in this segment is Ken Kelly. Ken is the general manager of the Downtown Victoria Business Association, and we just found out that we're both from Winnipeg, which I guess is why we're laughing at the moment. So Ken, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the DVBA is and what it tries to do.
By all means. DVBA, the Downtown Victoria Business Association, was created in 2005. It's one of approximately 60 business improvement associations in the province, one of virtually almost thousands of business improvement associations in North America. These organizations are created for the people, by the people. They're created for the business community, by themselves, to have a voice, to participate in the future of a particular downtown. It's enabling legislation that is provided for by the provincial government, and any business group, be it downtown or in another commercial area, has the opportunity of creating an entity which will partner with the municipality, other businesses, other organizations to improve and better the downtown.
So if I'm a business and I have space downtown, can I join or not join as I see fit, or do I have to join if it exists?
Actually, it's mandated. It is a bylaw which was created by City Council here in Victoria in 2005, and people are required to pay a levy. So they pay a property tax, but they also pay a levy, which everybody agreed to, to create the DVBA, and it continues 8 years later.
Okay. When you say everybody agrees to, I guess there's a 51% vote or something like that.
That's an interesting story. Back in 2001, the DVBA, the former DVBA, was dissolved. There was a sense that it was not serving the interests of the downtown, and then it was decided, you know what, we do need an organization like this which is geocentrically focused, one that is intent on the well-being of the downtown. And we were recreated in 2005. We run on a 5-year mandate, and in that 5-year period, people get a chance to see how we're performing, what we're doing, how well we're doing it, and they have the opportunity of reviewing whether or not they would like it to be continued. When we went for the review in 2009, there was only one property owner who voted against our renewal.
Out of how many?
710 property owners.
So 709 to 1.
So, well, you know, we're doing our very best.
Yeah. So you sound popular.
Well, we're doing our best.
Okay.
We work hard for the interests of the downtown.
Okay. The problem, as I see it, is that the downtown is having a lot of problems foisted upon it. Myself, you know, when I go downtown, I find it really noisy. I found overly noisy, so I don't like that.
That's dynamic.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable. There was a really hard edge to downtown a few years ago. That seems to have gone now. I don't know how or why, but it's gone. And, you know, I mean, homeless people, you know, it's...
You know what? The downtown...
I've stopped going, but these to me are created problems. And I think that the DVBA or any downtown business association should be trying to solve those problems. I guess especially the problem of homelessness and noise is something else. But
there's homelessness, there's addictions, there's mental health. All of this is playing out on the streets of our downtowns. Not uniquely Victoria, it's throughout North America.
Exactly.
There is social change afoot, and it's all being played out in front of our eyes in the public forum, the Agora, which is our downtown. So yes, every downtown in North America has been handed a full plateful of issues with which it's got to do its best to cope with. And I've got to say, you alluded to, the downtown having some challenges. In 2007, 2008, we really did reach a low ebb of, you know, the challenges that we faced. We faced a lot of challenges, but because the community worked together to address those, we have seen so many of those addressed. There's more to be done, undeniably, but we could literally take the model that was created here in Victoria and take it across the country to talk to other municipalities about how effective we were in working together. That's been the key, whether it's the downtown service providers, the City of Victoria, the police, the courts, the business community. We've all had a role in making a contribution to ensuring that our downtown is as stable but also as attractive and vibrant as possible.
Okay, and I think you have been successful, because I'm now finding I'm starting to go downtown more often. And in fact, when I think about it, this jacket is from Value Village. This shirt is from Hemp and Company. I think these pants, I can't remember, but I think Mark's Work Warehouse. So I'm shopping downtown more. And I find because the downtown has the smaller independent stores, I want it to be successful. And I don't like the fact that decisions are made at very high levels, federally and provincially, that are damaging our downtowns. And I think I would say the deliberate creation of homelessness by, you know, federal and provincial governments, just allowing it and helping to create it, has been a big problem for downtown. Does the DVBA take a political position on that and say, hey, you guys, why are you creating a problem and then giving it to us and damaging the downtowns of our cities, which is not a good thing to do?
We look at it as partnerships. We've gone to our provincial government. We work virtually daily with our municipal government. We have made overtures as well to the federal government, depending on what the topic might be. I think a very good example is the Victoria Integrated Court. It's a community court which deals with, in this particular case, repeat offenders, those who have frequent encounters with the law, who need to have what their challenges are addressed. So when they go to court, it's not dealing with the offense that they have committed, but rather why they're committing that offense. And to date, after 3 years, our community court here in Victoria has engaged over 200 clients. And those were clients who were frequenters of the street that you would have seen a few years ago when our challenges were greatest. And those people they're working with various skilled individuals, professionals, who can help address the challenges which they personally face. And so that's a very good case of where we worked very closely with Judge Ernie Quantz, who created the integrated court, but we've also worked with Victoria Police. We've worked with our downtown businesses when people were camping in the doorways. You know, those
I just want to say, I think that sounds like a great thing. I'm surprised that somebody like me who, you know, listens to the radio, reads the newspapers, and watches a little bit of TV, don't know anything about the Victoria Integrated Court. It sounds like a very important thing that we should all know about, but I don't know why we don't. Yeah, that's another story. What have been, aside from that, what have been some of the greatest successes or the best things you've done to...
You know what, I think one of the great successes that we had in 2005 when we saw the challenges facing our downtown, our board, our organization made a commitment of hiring individuals so they would be paid to clean the streets of downtown. The demands of our city of Victoria, just like the demands on any municipality, things get downloaded, offloaded. Sometimes they just are, people walk away, other forms of government walk away. The municipal government is left with some of these challenges and the associated cost. So what we agreed to do as the DVBA was to create a clean team whose responsibility would be to focus on the cleanliness and the attractiveness of downtown. So we're doing two things when we create the clean team. We're addressing the cleanliness, but we're also assisting those who have maybe had a few too many challenges or tight turns in their lives. So the individuals that we've hired, we have a team of 8 clean team members, and they go out every day, they clean the streets, they collect up about 100 pounds of garbage and debris off the streets of our downtown every day. We remove 5,000 to 7,000 graffiti tags every year. We remove approximately 2,000 pieces of drug paraphernalia. Our mandate, our job as it relates to the clean team is to try and ensure our downtown is attractive as possible. Spring cleanup. Yesterday we started a 6-week-long project which we do every year in concert with the City of Victoria, and it is to clean the ground floor facades of every building within our boundaries. So the windows are washed, the front doorways are washed out, the actual building panels, be they brick, be they marble, whatever, they're washed down. We really put our best foot forward on behalf of our property and business owners.
It sounds great. And I think, again, that's been successful. I have noticed the last few times I've been downtown, maybe I'm sensitive to noise, but A couple of things. Number one, a motorcycle guy gunning down the street. You know, it sounds like a jet plane taking off. Is there nothing that the city police can do about that, or the city government in terms of bylaws to ban these kinds of extremely loud machines from the whole city? Do you know anything about that?
Sure. I think that the city would, the population of our city would be impressed with the bylaws which exist. The challenge is we're dealing with a lot of people coming down and enjoying our downtown. Our population of 78, 80,000 people. We're the downtown for a region of 350,000 people. We've got a wonderful police force. We've got great bylaw enforcement officers. They can't be everywhere all at the same time. You know, that they need to be.
Do they ever enforce noise bylaws?
Undeniably.
Really?
They enforce the noise bylaws, the
Glad to hear
loitering
it.
bylaws, the panhandling bylaws. They're very effective in trying to do this. Will they address and catch everyone? No.
Okay. I didn't even
unfortunately
know they were doing anything, so I'm glad to hear they are.
Yeah.
Another thing I notice when I'm downtown that is irritating and I think extremely dangerous are crazy people on bicycles and skateboards going along the sidewalks, and I mean in a very unsafe manner. They're just a little bit crazy, and personally I'm tired of, you know, almost getting into fights with people about that, and you know, I think it bothers everybody. How about that in terms of bylaw?
Skateboarding on the sidewalks is prohibited.
No.
Yes.
It's prohibited.
Yes,
Oh.
it's prohibited. But
Where are the police?
Well, but remember, the police can't be everywhere.
I've never seen them.
And they're dealing with larger problems. There's a beat and bike patrol that comes downtown. They're particularly evident in the summer months, but they really are present year-round. One thing that you'd be interested in hearing is the City of Victoria last year uniformed all of their bylaw enforcement officers. So they put them all in uniform so that they would be visible, and that they now do patrol the downtown. But they're limited. It's a team, I believe, of 8 members, and they've got the entire city to patrol as well as the downtown.
Okay, so what if one of these people sees a skateboarder or bicyclist on the sidewalk acting in a dangerous manner? What can they or do they do?
Number one, they're asked to stop skateboarding or stop biking on the street, and if they do so, perfect.
Okay.
If they contest that or are seen to be perhaps a repeat offender, they could most certainly be ticketed.
Okay. Is their skateboard or bicycle taken?
Oh, I imagine there are circumstances when that does happen. They might be it might be suspended for a period
Because I know
of time.
recently there was a small story in the newspaper, in the TC, about a very serious accident where a skateboarder ran into a couple who were both, I think, in their 50s.
Yes.
Both
Yeah.
of them were seriously injured.
Yes.
This is, you know, this whole issue is not a joke. It's a matter of public safety.
Sure it is.
And it's detrimental to our society. When you come to a street corner, you have to sort of look around the corner now before you can proceed, because you don't know what's going to happen. That's not only downtown, that's everywhere.
I think that's maybe the next level that we've got to strive to achieve. You know, if we think, you know, this is the gateway to our community. People form their impressions on what they see in the downtown. Whether people live in Victoria, whether people live in one of our 13 municipalities, it's the downtown that's so important, and it's so critical that people feel they have a responsibility to behave properly, but also, you know, if there's litter on the street, pick up some litter. Let's try and make this downtown the best ever.
To me, one of the best things that could happen to downtown is if we started to have commuter rail going from Langford to downtown on the E&N, running a train every 15 minutes right through the day, or 10 minutes or 5 minutes in rush hour. But now the rail bridge has been removed, and
Yes.
that basically ends that hope. I was surprised that there wasn't a big reaction from the downtown businesses, because that could be bringing thousands of people a day right into the downtown. We've only got a minute and a half left, but can you comment on that, the removal of the rail bridge and the cost to downtown of that?
Undeniably, would it have been ideal for us to continue that rail service downtown? Yes. Would it be valuable for us to have a singular transportation hub? Yes. But The city was challenged with the replacement of that bridge and the monies it had to draw on to pay for it. We've had participation by the federal government. We had no participation by the provincial government. As such, the city simply didn't have the resources to create the type of bridge that would provide the transportation access that it could with both.
That's the only statement in our
rail.
whole segment that I'll disagree with you on, because I think they could have and should have made sure that either the rail bridge was not removed or another one was built. But Ken, it sounds to me like the DVBA is doing a very good job. I've learned a lot in this little segment, and I'm impressed. I didn't know all this work was going on. Can you just give me one other thing? We've only got about 30 seconds left. One other thing you guys have done that you think is important.
Oh, yikes. We do so much. You know, we've got Illuminate grants. We provide grants to our property owners to illuminate their buildings for attractiveness or for security. We partnered with the city. $300,000 we've invested with the city to enhance public lighting throughout the downtown. We've got something kind of silly at this time of the season people might enjoy, gull grants. We provide assistance so that property owners are not beset with gulls resting or nesting on their roof lines.
We're going to have to end it there. Thank you so much. Ken Kelly of the Downtown Victoria Business Association. Thank you for watching Citizens Forum.
Thank you.